Did you know that more Black women are diagnosed with lupus than any other women? Hi, thank you for stopping by. My name is Natalie. If this is your first time around this area of the internet, welcome. I talk about health and wellness on this channel, and I drop videos every Monday evenings. The first time I suspected that I might have lupus, it was actually after watching a video of a Black woman on here who was talking about her disease. And I started scrolling and looking at other stories, and I noticed there was an abundance of Black women, but I didn't really think much about it. It's not until years later, after all the things I learned about lupus, that I realized that lupus was more prevalent among Black women. So there are more Black women who have lupus than any other women. Why that is, no one knows. Nobody knows. But Black women are being more poorly affected by lupus than any other women. And today I want to talk about that. People from all ethnic groups can get lupus. More often than not, women are going to be the ones that get diagnosed with lupus. In fact, 9 out of 10 lupus patients are women. Children can also get lupus, girls and boys. Lupus is 3 times more common among Black women than any other women of any other racial group. Here in the US, 1 in every 250 women are going to get lupus at some point. So that means every time you see 1,000 Black women together, at least 4 of them are going to have lupus or get lupus. It's usually going to be something that happens to your body around your reproductive age. Black women in particular are affected by lupus in a more dangerous way than other women. A research study published by Oxford University just in 2019 showed that Black women tend to experience more progression with their lupus when compared to other women. So Black women have more symptoms, and their symptoms tend to get intensified at a quicker rate than other women. In addition, that same study by the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health showed that Black women, in particular, when compared to other groups, tend to have worse disease outcome. And these women that were in the study were all located in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So some of this could be geographical, but some of this could also be the reflection of our healthcare system, which is typically not designed to hear women's concerns and validate them without, calling women histrionic or telling us we are exaggerating and we're making things up and we need to calm down. That whole tendency of ignoring women and not listening to women and not valuing women, not actually giving any credibility to what women are saying, that whole patriarchal attitude, that some people have in the healthcare field is even more heightened when the woman happens to be Black. When a woman happens to be Black and she tells her doctor that she's in pain, if said doctor is indoctrinated by, beliefs, negative beliefs about Black people in general, this doctor is not going to hear what this Black woman is telling him, even though she's speaking English and he can hear her. What he's going to be inclined to do is to immediately dismiss what she's experiencing. So to me, the result of this study is just like a glimpse into the reality of managing our healthcare system as a Black woman living with a chronic illness. So these people are going to be a part of your life for many, many years to come. It's important to forge a healthy relationship with them. And for a lot of Black women, what that means is that sometimes we have to be more forceful with what it is that we need, because there's been so many research articles that show that Black women generally don't do as well with our healthcare system. And even when you add like money into the mix, some people think Black women who have, a lot of wealth somehow are protected from these things, but that's not necessarily always true. I remember Serena Williams talking about how she suffered from blood clots after giving birth to her child, and how while in the hospital, she too kept telling doctors that she was in pain, and they were not hearing her. I don't mean they weren't hearing her words. They just were not taking her seriously. So if a woman as popular and wealthy as Serena Williams cannot seem to be able to clearly articulate and convey with simple English words to her physician that she's in extreme pain, then what chance do the rest of us have with being able to successfully be heard when we're expressing discomfort? This is also why more Black women tend to die during childbirth compared to other women. There are lots of pieces that go into why that is, but I'm not here to uncover all of that. I don't have the smarts or the background to know about all of that. But what I do know for a fact is that that is an issue. So prior to making my channel all about health and wellness, it was kind of a big space of conversations around sustainability, and it was more lifestyle driven, where I would talk about my life with thrifting and my life with living green and making homemade products and minimizing toxins and eating green and all of that, living green and just thinking about the planet, thinking about being efficient and thoughtful in the way that we live our lives, and thinking about not wanting to do more harmful things to Earth and not wanting to make decisions today that can poorly impact the well-being of future generations, which is what the whole, climate crisis is about, right? So that was kind of a big part of what I talked about on this channel primarily. And I also talked about sustainability with fashion, reusing and buying less and buying things that are quality so they last longer and all of that good stuff. So you would see around my channel there's a whole lot of content around there. Then at some point I made a decision to transition that conversation exclusively to a health and wellness space, and I know that threw a lot of you off because up until then my channel was about all these other things. You see, as my own exposure with lupus progressed, I became more and more knowledgeable about lupus treatment, lupus management. I also became more concerned about all of the women out there who may not know, all the women out there who may not know much about lupus, who are just now getting diagnosed or who are having symptoms but have not yet been diagnosed. And that just made me feel sad. And it kind of became my motivation for wanting to make this channel exclusively about health, wellness, and us taking care of ourselves and prioritizing our well-being, our physical well-being, our emotional well-being, our mental health, and just really making sure that our bodies and our minds are as much our priority as the clothes we wear and the things that our families need from us. See, it's not unusual for many women to sacrifice their well-being in favor of taking care of the people that they love. In fact, I would argue that many of us are hardwired for that kind of behavior. It's almost like we've almost been trained, raised, and programmed to be less attentive to our needs, because we were told we were selfish. If we wanted alone time, if we wanted to set boundaries, if we wanted to say no, if we wanted to say, no, I don't want to play with you, if we wanted to say, no, I don't feel like doing this right now, or if we wanted to say, you know what, I'm uncomfortable, this doesn't feel right, so I'm not interested in that. A lot of women have been brainwashed into thinking that doing for themselves, wanting for themselves, and having for themselves is somehow wrong. A woman wanting to have a massage every month, it's like, oh, why is she so spoiled? Why is she so this? Why is she so that? Or she could just be actually actively doing the things that she needs to be doing for her life, for her well-being, for her sanity, for her joy, so that she does not lose sight of the fact that this world is actually a lot of fun and it can be a very beautiful place filled with lots of amazing moments. When a woman doesn't have time to pour into herself, she becomes unhappy, she becomes miserable and resentful. These are words that generally follow all of our acts of self-sacrifice. When I think about chronic disease or chronic illness, and I think about the fact that our condition is long-term and it's for the rest of our lives, to me, that naturally means that there is going to be more of an emphasis on prioritizing our self-care. and our health and our well-being, because naturally whatever we're dealing with is something we are going to continue to deal with. It's something that we're not going to not stop dealing with. So if we do not make it a point to take care of ourselves and prioritize how we take care of ourselves, then we're not going to do a good job at succeeding at managing our illness, because that's essentially what it is. It's something we have to manage like a job. But what that means is that if you happen to be a Black woman, there's more of a need, more of an emphasis on you prioritizing your health, even if you do not have lupus, because you already know that the healthcare system, which is what you're going to be engaging with when your health deteriorates, is not really set up to respond to your needs. You already know that you're going to have to say that thing 3 times before these doctors hear you. So if there's a way to avoid having to deal with that entire system by you taking care of yourself, then even better, right? And that goes for all women, in fact, but even more so for Black women because of the prevalence of lupus in the Black community and the poor outcomes from all of the lupus treatment. So for those of you who initially came to the channel for more green living stuff, I understand if this content is no longer something that you can relate to or that you vibe with and that is of interest to you, that's perfectly fine. I wanted to be upfront in saying that this has been part of my evolution in managing my illness. I want the space to be a space where women can congregate to share information with one another about how they're doing with managing their lupus and encourage each other on how they're coping with their lupus, and inspire each other to be advocates of themselves and to be fearless about going for the things that they want in life, and to be fearless about finding joy in life in spite of all the pain, and to be bold in holding on to positive thoughts and positive feelings about their future in spite of all the challenges that their bodies may be currently experiencing. I want this space to be a space of healing. I want it to be a space of hope. I want it to be a space of information, a space of information sharing, information learning, a space where we come to pour love into each other and encourage each other to go on our journey. I want us to do that once a week. So that once a week, we're kind of touching each other's hands and connecting. Like, you're still hanging in there? Yes. Girl, me too. That's what I want. Now, for those of you who are passionate about fashion like me, because obviously that's why I started this channel. That's why I started my sustainability business on the side, is because I am passionate about secondhand fashion and sustainable fashion in general. So if you're looking for fashion content, I have another page called Styled Under. There's no 25. So you can just Google Styled Under and you'll watch all of my inclusive fashion, entertainment, and culture stuff. But for those of you who are here, I just want you to know the conversation is going to be shifting more into like this health and wellness stuff. From time to time, I'll share products, green products that I've tried that I like, that surprised me, do-it-yourself recipes of things that I find healing, that are soothing to my soul. I'm still very much so committed to slow living and mindful living and self-care and compassion. And I just want to bring that more to the forefront of what we talk about here. I'm essentially making this video to say, take care of yourself, prioritize your well-being. It's not selfish for you to take care of yourself, because if you have no self, you have no you. If you have no you, you're not alive. So taking care of yourself is your main priority in this world. That's why when you board on the plane, they tell you, hey, if something goes down and the plane got to go down, they're very upfront with you about it. They're like, hey, most of the time planes do great. We don't have problems. It's really rare that, we fall out of the sky. Hardly ever happens, but sometimes it does. We need to let you know what to expect in case, things get a little shaky. And then we got to figure out what's going on. So here's the plan, right? If we start to deep dive from the sky, we're probably going to lose air in here, and we need everybody to be alive. So if you have a child, that's what they tell you. If you have a child, you put the mask on yourself, and then you put your mask on your child. The logic behind that is that if you are busy trying to put the mask on your child without first ensuring that the mask is on yourself, you yourself will run out of oxygen. And then what happens to their child, who obviously couldn't help themselves, which is why they needed you to put the mask on them. Now that you're out of oxygen and you're passed out in the chair next to the child, underneath the seat next to the child, what's happening with the child? How is the child breathing now? That is the logic behind that. Because when you hurt yourself, when you run yourself ragged, when you ignore your needs and you don't go get checkups and you don't want to, when you don't work out and you don't eat healthy, you don't get your mind right, you neglect your spirituality, you're not doing any of the hygiene stuff you need to do to keep yourself together emotionally, physically, mentally, at a soul level. When you decide to run yourself through the mud, you're not just hurting you, you're hurting the very people that you were sacrificing yourself for. You're hurting them too. But the thing is, most of those people don't even ask all of that of us. A lot of this is our own wiring. A lot of this is our own training. So it's up to us to change that narrative, to make some new decisions, to decide on prioritizing ourselves. Because our loved ones don't want to lose us because we're sacrificing ourselves for them, because we're pushing ourselves beyond our limits. They don't want that for us. If they really love us, they want us to be well. And it's no one else's responsibility. It is no one else's responsibility to take care of you if you are an adult. If you're a human adult, you are responsible for yourself. Even if you have a spouse, it's not their job to take care of you because you're a grown person. You're an adult. I mean, I know grown women that literally have to call the doctor to make appointments for their grown husband. Like, why? Does he not know how to use a cell phone? Can he not dial the numbers? Like, what? Why is that? Life gets even more depressing for women, especially heterosexual women, after they're married. Because in addition to taking care of their children, they also take care of their husbands. I pray for you. I want what's good for you. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you positive vibrations. And I urge you to join me on this journey of taking care of ourselves. Because it's not just a you issue, it's an all of us issue. It's a me issue too. I'm still working through all the things that I talk about on this channel. And because it's a daily thing. It's not like you figure it out and that's it. You're still going to track back. You're still going to make mistakes. You're still going to fall into old habits. Because it's the wiring. It's hard to undo all of it overnight, you know? That's not how it works. I wish it was easy, where, you know, once I understood that this was the product of patriarchy and capitalism and that this wasn't healthy, that my behavior would naturally follow. But no, that's not what happens. I still act like sacrificing myself is like exactly what I should do. Like I should push myself beyond my limits at all times. Because if I'm not doing that, then am I doing any of the things that I'm supposed to be doing? Because a lot of times this world will make you feel like when you're a woman, your place is number two, and your needs are number two, and your wants are number two. And Black women in particular have no problem sacrificing themselves for the people they love. None. It comes with the territory. I still have to work on it every day. I still have to make smart choices every day. And because we all know knowing all this stuff and doing the right stuff are two separate things. They're not the same thing. You can know things and still do things that contradict what you know. People do it all the time. That's the nature of being a human. It's not a perfect gig. You know, I don't want you to think that I come up here and talk a good game and I do all this stuff right. I don't. I'm still learning a lot myself. But I definitely wanted to focus on this because I think it's important. I think it's more important than anything else because we can't honestly talk about taking care of the planet if we don't even know how to take care of ourselves. Like that's like bare minimum, honestly. So that's what I want to focus on. How do we take care of ourselves as women? How do we not treat ourselves like slaves? and second-class citizens because of our indoctrination? How do we prioritize our needs? How do we love ourselves fully? How do we celebrate ourselves? How do we set boundaries? How do we attract the things we want in our lives? Like, these are, I think, the more important conversations for me. So hopefully you'll stick around for that. And if you cannot, I understand. We all are vibing through this life. You have to find your tribe and your community, and the lupus community is my community. So that's where I'm staying. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up. If you're into this kind of content, hit the subscribe button for videos every Monday evening. To shop any of my sustainable fashion pieces, you can head over to styledunder.com. And don't forget to follow me on social media. I am on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook is at styledunder, and Instagram is at styledunder25. All right, guys, until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.